Darkest greetings, horror, sci-fi, and James Gunn fans. We're here from Horror, Sci-Fi, and Beyond, and we're planning on doing the next episode of MCU Look Back this week. But unfortunately, that's not going to happen because Eric's too busy the week that we're recording this video, and he was able to, watch the movies and, able to come on here. So me and Jackson, we're actually going to do one of James Gunn's early movies, Slither, in honor of Guardians 3 coming out. Actually, by the time you see this, it's going to come out this weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I'm really excited for.
It's funny that we were going to be talking about Guardians 1 anyway.
Yeah.
Like, that just lined up that way, yeah.
Yeah, and I got my Guardian shirt on, too.
Nice.
Yeah. And just one quick thing before we move forward. As you know, tomorrow is actually going to be May the 4th, and so make sure you check out my Star Wars tier list. It might get me assassinated, like what Jackson said. I honestly think that was one of the funniest things you said on here on my King Kong review when I even announced that video.
Yeah.
He said, and when Drew is assassinated in a few weeks.
I mean, Star Wars is a risky business, so
do.
Proceed at your own peril.
But anyways, before we get down to the Slither review, let's talk about a horror movie that was recently released. But it's not the one you're thinking of. It's not Evil Dead, because Jackson hasn't seen it yet. But we've both seen the Nicolas Cage Dracula movie, Renfield.
Uh-huh.
So we'll talk about that for maybe like 5 or 10 minutes. So what was your initial thoughts, or what were your overall thoughts about Renfield?
Well, I mean, I've said, maybe not on this show. I know I've talked about it on Fear of God before. I love Nicolas Cage.
Mm-hmm.
I have been a huge Nicolas Cage fan for like probably 25 years since I was in high school. And he was in like The Rock and Face Off and Gone in 60 Seconds and all that stuff. And so, he's had his ups and downs with his career, but I always enjoy watching him just go bug nuts, in front of the camera. And this is exactly that. It's like he's doing an accent that I find absolutely baffling. I have no idea what he's going for.
Right.
Because he's not trying to sound like Bela Lugosi. He's doing just some other kind of thing. And of course, the movie is silly fun. It's got some serious moments. I love that it just revels in its gore. It's just got people being absolutely ripped apart.
Lot gorier than I thought it was going to be.
So gory, right?
But it wasn't like gross gory like Evil Dead. It was like more fun. It was way more fun gore.
It's silly. It's definitely all played for laughs. Like, you don't ever feel bad for anybody that's being dismembered or whatever in the movie.
Yeah, I definitely had a good time with it. I put it more odes to the older Universal films.
Sure.
But I love how they recreated the Bela Lugosi film at the beginning. I thought that was
that was one of the best parts. Yeah.
And the one cool thing I thought about what Nicolas Cage did was he wasn't particularly imitating or got inspiration from one Dracula. It seemed like he took all these famous actors that played Dracula, like Lugosi, Jack Palance, Matt Trent, and kind of like combined them together. And even his smile, like it kind of reminded me of Conrad Veidt from The Man Who Laughs.
Okay. See, I think his smile actually looks a lot like Christopher Lee in this movie.
Ooh.
There's that very toothy, like devilish grin. Yeah. But I can see where you're getting Conrad Veidt as well. Yeah.
It had a little bit of Lon Chaney from Living at the Midnight, because that was another character for the vampire with the shark teeth.
But I'm specifically thinking of the image from Horror of Dracula, where you see Dracula and his eyes are all like red and
Oh yeah.
bloodshot, and he's got blood on his face, and he's just smiling so
Mhm.
big.
Right.
That's what Nicolas Cage's performance made me think of. Yeah.
Yeah. And speaking of Nicolas Cage, have you ever seen a movie called Color Out of Space?
Oh yeah, yeah. I
Yeah,
saw that
I
in the
just
theater. I
watched it.
was yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh gosh, that movie. That movie is a lot like the movie we're going to be talking about here in a little
yeah.
bit.
I like
Yeah.
the part when he freaks out over the alpacas because my mom is obsessed with alpacas. Like that's her dream is to start the alpaca farm. And he goes, "They're fucking alpacas."
As only he can say it. Yeah.
If you're ready, let's talk about some Slither. And before
Okay.
we review, let's do the plot summary according to IMBD. A small town is taken over by alien plague, turning residents into zombies and all forms of mutant monsters. Ooh.
Ooh.
That was kind of weird. What are your overall thoughts about Slither?
Okay, so I saw this movie in the theater when it came out. Uh, I had only known who James Gunn was from his stuff as a writer, because that's mostly what he had done up to that point. He had directed one other movie before that called The Specials, I want to say, but I hadn't seen that yet. But I knew that he had written the Dawn of the Dead remake, which I really liked,
Yeah, and
and
Scooby Doo. Don't forget about Scooby
I
Doo.
knew he had written Scooby Doo, which I thought was all right. Um, but I knew his name. So went into this. Of course, I had seen the trailers for it. They even at the time, I remember before the movie came out, they had a like an online contest where you could download all of these like predetermined clips and sound cues and cut your own 30-second trailer to the movie.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And so I tried doing that. I wasn't very successful at it because I'm not much of an editor. But I was really excited for the movie. And then it came out, and me and my friends went to see it, and we just died the whole time. It was just like the most batshit crazy movie I had seen up probably to that point.
Yeah.
And then I didn't watch the movie again for another, what, 17 years until just this past week. I never watched it again. I had it on DVD. I never watched it.
Right.
So I watched it again yesterday.
Oh yeah, I'm totally buying this on Blu-ray. I'm getting the
Yeah.
I'm gonna get the Stout Factory Blu-ray.
But I watched it again yesterday, and I didn't love it as much.
Oh really?
I don't know if it's just I'm getting old, but yeah.
Yeah, I think the weird thing about this movie was like the posters is a total miss like advertising of this movie.
Yeah.
It made it seem like it's gonna be kind of like dark and gritty, like a cabin fever, but it's really like Tales from the Crypt meets like Men in
Yes.
Black meets like X-Files.
Yeah, but dialed all the way up to 11.
Yeah, it honestly feels very 90s. It did not feel like this movie came out in like 2006.
Okay.
Yeah, it feels like very like something you would see like on HBO. Like this literally could have been called Tales from the Crypt.
Yeah.
Leather. Because I mean a couple of Tales from the Crypt movies, right? Like Demon Knight.
See, I've never watched any of the Tales from the Crypt movies.
Yeah. We need to review Demon Knight sometime. I heard that I seen clips of that movie, and Billy Zane's like crazy in that movie.
I love Billy Zane, so yeah.
Yeah, that's pain for him to play Lex Luthor, because he would be an awesome Lex Luthor.
He really would be. He'd be terrific.
Yeah. Yeah, what's he doing? Come on, James Gunn. Get Billy for Lex Luthor in Superman movie. I mean, that's another appropriate thing too, because James Gunn like is basically running DC films right now, and he's working on the Superman movie, which I'm excited for.
Yeah, we'll see what that's gonna be like. I don't know.
I have a lot of pressure on the guy. That's just like the world's most iconic superhero, and you're writing and possibly directing this movie. It's crazy. I can't imagine when the pressure he's gonna go through the next couple of years on that.
Yeah, and you wonder if any of his sort of personality will survive
Mm,
that process. We'll see. You know, it's one thing to do Guardians and Suicide Squad. It's
mm.
a whole other thing to tackle Superman.
Honestly, I think he's gonna nail it just because you
I hope
have
so.
could you have like the heart and soul was Groot in the Guardians movies? I think he's gonna bring
Uh-huh.
that element to Superman.
I hope so. We'll
Yeah.
see.
But I digest, as Brent Terhune would say. Let's get to the nitty-gritty of the Slither review. Now, I love how the funeral home and then the mayor of this movie is called McReady. That's an obvious ode to the thing. John Carpenter's The Thing.
Oh, okay. That
Yeah,
makes sense. Yeah.
yeah, because Kurt Russell was named R.J. McReady or McCready
Uh-huh.
or something like that. And then, this is an alien movie, so there's something that comes down from outer space, like every alien movie.
Uh-huh.
I love when Michael Rooker gets attacked by the alien life form, and he goes to his fridge and he says meat, and he takes all.
Yeah, just meat.
And then when he goes to the grocery store and he goes to like the meat section, and he just says meat like
Yeah.
I'm like, good God, is he just gonna say meat the whole time? The whole time, and then like
Michael Rooker,
I'm Mary Poppins doll that's like in the middle of him saying meat.
yeah. Michael Rooker in this movie is pretty fantastic, playing a guy who's really kind of a slime ball
Mm,
and then only gets worse when an alien takes over his brain.
yeah.
But I like when he's like trying to pass off like him after the aliens taken over. I like all his trying to pass off his appearance. He's like, it's just a bee sting. It's just a little bug bite.
Yeah, and I didn't know that Elizabeth Banks was in this movie. That's pretty cool. I
Oh
like.
yeah, she's fantastic.
Yeah, I loved her as Effie Trinket from Hunger Games,
Oh yeah.
and then I love when Rooker goes to attack the dog, and it fades to black, and then the dog whimpers.
Mm.
I thought that was kind of funny.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, that's the thing about this movie is it's so gross.
mhm.
This movie is capital G, capital R, capital O, capital SS gross. Um and yet it has a really good sense of humor. I think a lot of that is, well, I mean, Gunn is good at writing funny dialogue, but I
Mm,
think he's even better at casting the right actors to deliver that dialogue.
right.
Because, you know, not a lot of actors can make just the word meat funny.
Right. Well, the thing about writing, and I never wrote a screenplay, but I would imagine that, like, because you're writing something, that's one, task, but actually
Uh-huh.
casting somebody.
Yeah.
And then when Elizabeth Banks finds the dead animals in the basement, that's extremely disturbing.
Oh yeah. Like this movie is top to bottom disturbing. Like everything that happens is disturbing. Um,
Well, and that's what I was saying, where it was kind of like the X-Files meets Tales from the
uh-huh.
Crypt, because, like, yeah, it's like there's a sleaziness to it, but it's funny too.
Yeah.
Like, it's really
And
funny.
and of course a lot of the humor in this movie I think comes down to Nathan Fillion as Chief Bill Party. You really could not cast that part more perfectly
Oh, yeah,
because
for sure.
he seems absolutely like a real guy that would
Mm,
really be the chief of police. And like maybe he was like a hot shot in
mm.
high school, like a football player, but now he's just kind of settled into being the chief of this quiet little town. And his reactions to everything that goes on in this movie
All right.
are gold.
Yeah.
Uh,
One of my favorite lines is when they're out in that field and the one police officer goes, "It's just like finding a needle in a fuck stack."
Oh my god.
Like,
That line I felt like was a little bit trying too hard to be
yeah,
funny. I didn't really like that line very much.
yeah. I like that line. But we cannot talk about this movie without talking about Mayor McCready. That guy was
Oh sure. Greg Henry. Yeah, he's terrific. And the funny thing about Greg Henry is I had seen him in a couple movies where kind of put on a Southern type accent. So I just assumed he was from here. No, he's like from New York or
Oh,
something.
really?
Like if you hear him talk in real life, he actually is very like he enunciates very well. He sounds very like upper class, like New England or
I'm
something
gonna look
like
that
that.
up. He really sold it. But
Yeah.
I love the part where they're in the car and they're getting away from the slugs, and he goes into his lunchbox and he sees that his assistant getting giving the Mr. Pibb, and he's like,
Mr. Pibb. He's
he's
like, it's
like,
the only kind of Coke I like.
I'm like to myself, dude, yeah. The only kind of Coke you like, because you're a man. You know, like any other Coke is a Mr. Pibb.
But even that, like, there's a really nice little bit of detail in that dialogue because they're supposed to. I think this movie is supposed to take place in like southern Missouri
Mm.
or like the Ozarks or whatever, and in that part of the country, all soda is called Coke. I mean, you live in Arkansas,
Yeah,
so yeah, all throughout
unfortunately.
the South and the lower Midwest, it's all Coke. And so
Yes.
when he says Mr. Pibb is the only kind of Coke I like, that's just absolutely note perfect.
I just gotta say that didn't those slugs that crawled in people's mouths didn't remind you of the scarab from the Mummy a little bit, the Brendan Fraser one?
Sure. Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, those
Except
things
when
freak
I
me out.
think of the scarabs, I think of them like crawling up under the skin and stuff
Oh
like
yeah,
that.
those are 10 times
Yeah.
worse than the slugs in this movie.
Yeah.
You
Which
visibly
do you think
see
which do you think are worse? The slugs in this movie or the tooth fairies in Hellboy 2?
probably the Tooth Fairy because they were pulling people into the darkness.
Yeah.
I gotta say, during the infamous bathtub scene, I thought that slug was gonna go up that one chick's. You know what? I'm like,
Yeah, it sort of leads you to believe that. Of course, I like that scene because it's an homage to Nightmare on Elm Street.
oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So I mean they copies that exact shot. So
Mm,
except it's with a little wiggly slug.
yeah, I mean, well, even as a dude, like I can relate because I don't want some slug to crawl up my pee hole
No, you don't want
or
that.
my butthole.
They're no.
Yeah, those are the only two crevices that a slug monster is not allowed to go up. Yeah,
It can go in your ear, your nose, your mouth. That's fine.
yeah. I mean, my nose is fine. I don't really need my nose.
Well, what I thought was cool about that scene also is the slug actually gets in her mouth and she like sees the history of the creature, sees it attacking other creatures on a different planet and it has like a psychic link to
Oh
it.
yeah, it was kind of like
And so
that
she's the
scene.
only one that actually understands what's really going on the rest of the movie.
Right. It's kind of like
So,
that scene in the Iron Giant where he connects to the TV and you see like glimpses of his homeworld.
hmm.
I don't know if you've ever seen the Iron Giant or not.
I've seen it, but it's been a long time.
Can we talk about the part where they go into the barn and they see that one chick that Michael Rooker was trying to hook up with? And he's like,
Oh gosh.
that was
It's so twisted.
yeah, speaking of Men in Black, that was some Men in Black shit right there. That was
Well, I mean, that's where James Gunn comes from. Like, he's doing really mainstream stuff now, but the guy came from like doing really weird. I mean, he was a trauma guy. He,
right,
he wrote films for them, and of course, Lloyd Kaufman, the head of Trauma, has a cameo in this movie.
right.
Yeah, and so
Oh, does he
yeah,
really?
James Gunn.
I know he's in.
Yeah, he's in there. He's in there. Some I can't remember exactly. I think he's at like the dance or something. Maybe I can't remember. I remember seeing him being like, "Oh, Lloyd Kaufman." Okay.
Yeah, I've never seen a
Um,
Lloyd Kaufman film of them. I probably should.
I've never really had the courage to watch one. I've seen clips from
Mm,
like Toxic Avenger and stuff like that, but I respect Lloyd Kaufman as a person.
mm,
Based on the things I've heard him talk about, like I was watching like this thing on Shudder called like Cursed Films or something like that.
Yeah, I heard about that. I've seen
And it was the one about the Twilight Zone, and they were talking about the people that got killed making that movie. And they interview Lloyd Kaufman, and he's sitting there and he's like, I'm known for making these like really bent out of shape, twisted movies, but at Trauma, we have very specific rules about keeping everyone safe on our sets. Like they're very like that's the first rule. Like that's like part of the official Trauma mission statement is number one is keep everyone safe. And I think James Gunn is probably a lot that same way, because I mean Lloyd Kaufman was his mentor. And from everything you hear about James Gunn on his sets, he's very safety conscious, he's very respectful towards everyone, he's very kind.
Right.
And so it's funny that,
what do you think about that with him having so like just so many twisted movies and ideas? You think that from him?
Well, I think a lot of people are like that. Like they make art that's very sort of out there and transgressive, but I think John Waters is kind of the same way. He made all these films about really extreme like stuff that people would get very easily offended by, but he built a whole little community around making these movies where everybody felt cared for and accepted and all of that. So
and I'll tell you what, I think the two filmmakers that Eric is always trying to get me to watch is Lloyd Kaufman and David Lynch.
Okay, yeah, David Lynch is another good example. Like he makes some really dark stuff, but by all accounts, he's like the kindest, sweetest man in the world.
Yeah, and I just love like going on David Lynch's YouTube channel, and he like tells you like the time and day, and then like what the weather's like outside, and the song that he's thinking of.
Oh my gosh, that sounds like something.
Hello,
yeah, he would do.
And it's April 26th, and it's a little cloudy outside, and it's about 7:09 in the morning. The song that I'm thinking of right now is that kind of song from the 70s called "Don't Pull Your Love Out on Me, Baby."
The other thing about Slither that I really admire, like I said at the beginning, like I didn't really love this movie this time around, not like I did when I first saw it. And I think part of that's just, I just don't want to watch something that gross most of the time. Maybe I just wasn't in the mood for it. I do really admire a lot about this movie, particularly the cast. And I really like how it's a whole bunch of genres at once. Like it's an alien invasion movie, and it's a creature movie, and it's kind of a zombie movie too.
Yeah, I was definitely
once the aliens, once the slugs like take everybody, it kind of turns into Night of the Living Dead for a little bit.
Yeah, I haven't even got that kind of vibe during the part in the Mario Brothers movies where he's in like when Luigi's in the forest and like all the dry Koopas come up. Like that was very like Night of the Living Dead, like Evil Dead kind of stuff. But yeah, I really enjoyed this movie. I mean, I'm really glad that Eric wasn't able to do the MT look back this week because I got the kick-ass sci-fi horror movie.
Yeah.
So if you don't have anything else to say, do you want to go into theme?
Sure, we can. I don't know what I have to say about it though. Do you have something to say? I don't know what the theme of this movie is.
Well, I have one.
Okay.
It is like any alien invasion film, it's all about dominance.
Sure. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
It kind of takes a weird sexual kind of feel to it because
there's that one scene that's very, really rough to watch.
Well, he wants Elizabeth Banks take a shower. What guy wouldn't wanna see that?
Yeah.
But it's kind of weird the way he.
It gets because the weird like tentacles start coming out of his chest and stuff.
Yeah, and they're very phallic too.
Oh yeah, and it really comes into play in the later scene where he goes
Yeah,
to that
well,
woman's house.
it's also kind of like the tail of the face hugger from Alien when it kind of wraps around.
Sure.
Yeah, that whole thing is
Uh-huh.
kind of sexual too because you're basically implanting
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
alien in you. Oh god, I hate
Hmm.
that. I hate the face hugger so much. I love
It
the
is
as you know,
absolutely disgusting. Yeah.
like I love the xenomorph as you know from the comic review. I fucking hate the face hugger so much. I think it's disgusting. But yeah, that's the only really thing I kind of got out of this movie.
Yeah.
And I think
Well,
there's almost kind of like a domestic abuse kind of thing there too, a little bit.
for sure. And what I do like about like sort of the ending of this
Mm,
movie is I like how Elizabeth Banks is able to sort of step in and be the hero in the moment
mm,
because she's able to like talk Grant, the creature, whatever you want to call it, down
mm,
long enough for to buy Bill some time so Bill can destroy it.
right.
But she asserts kind of her form of dominance,
Mm,
which sort of masks itself as being like, this committed wife or whatever. But
mm,
really, she's just trying to buy some time and keep this
right.
creature calm long enough to where Bill can blow it up.
Yeah, and I
Um,
also kind of even noticed how, because he's a school teacher, Elizabeth Banks, and
yeah,
at the end of the school day, during the first scene of the movie, James Gunn is actually talking to her, and Michael Rooker
yeah,
is just kind of
I remember
jealous.
that. Uh
Um,
huh.
so there's that kind of like I mean, he didn't go full on toxic masculinity, but there's a kind of very much a men's supposed to be the head of the household and women are supposed to be below men kind
Yeah.
of going on
Well,
there.
yeah, it's like you said
You
with
gotta listen to what
dominance,
I say,
like,
Vince, and make me a sandwich when I tell you to make me a sandwich.
yeah,
Kind of thing.
because yeah, he's the dominant force at the beginning of the movie.
Mm,
And then by the end of the movie, it's come full circle and she's able to assert her dominance,
right.
which takes a different form, but
Mm.
it's dominance nonetheless.
But anyways, you want to get to favorite part, least favorite part?
Okay.
So I'll let you do your favorite part, least favorite.
The least favorite part is the scene where he attacks the woman after he goes to her house and like it's just so it's like the tree scene in Evil Dead,
Yeah.
it's just so icky to watch. And I understand why it's in the movie,
Mm.
but it's still just really icky and I didn't like
At
watching
least
it.
that makes more
Um
sense. Like the
so
tree scene,
yeah,
like did not need to happen whatsoever.
that's true. There is a story reason in this. The tree scene is just them being very immature. They were really young when they made that. Whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, well, you could
Favorite
the
part.
same maybe just wanted to make a really shocking horror movie. That's kind of part of it.
Yeah, exactly. So favorite part, it's one line. And I don't normally swear on this show, but I can't I can't not because it's my favorite line in the movie. It's when they go to Grant's house near the end, and him and the girl and Elizabeth Banks are watching like all the people like getting absorbed into Michael Rooker, and Nathan Fillion's just like, oh, that is some fucked up shit. Just the way he says it is so just note perfect. It's just one of those classic Nathan Fillion line deliveries, and it still makes me laugh.
Yeah, I need to watch some Nathan Fillion stuff.
He's great. He's
Yeah, I think the
terrific.
only other thing I've seen him in was that Uncharted fan film with he was amazing in that. Like that was like
You've
easy.
never watched Firefly?
I watched part of the first episode. I need to watch that again. It's on Hulu, right?
Yeah, that is. I think so. Yeah, that
Yeah.
sounds right.
Yeah, I need to check that out. But my favorite part gotta be Mayor McCready. I think he was like every like scumbag politician, and it was helped that he was from the South too. So
Yeah.
yeah, least favorite part I didn't put anything in there. I could not think of a thing I did not like. Maybe it was a little bit too slow. Maybe Of
I
course,
mean, I guess. I mean, it's only an hour and 35 minutes long. How slow can it be? I guess there's a good bit of setup before you actually get to the alien.
yeah,
So,
yeah. I mean, that finds something, but what
mhm.
rate this movie?
I mean, when I first saw it, it would have been easily like a 4.5. I think now it's more like a 3.5 out of
Uh,
5 for me.
I gotta go at 4.5.
Okay.
This movie's pretty amazing, and I'm probably gonna buy the Blu-ray once I
Yeah.
get off of here from South Factory. Do you ever do you collect South Factory at all?
I don't have any Shot Factory.
Or
I honestly haven't bought a Blu-ray in forever. Like, I just don't collect physical media much anymore because I don't have much space.
yeah, no, I
Uh,
collect physical media all the time.
hmm
Yeah, it's because it's it's a lot better, and then you're always gonna have it.
That's true. I used to have a lot of it,
Hmm.
and then after I got divorced and started moving a lot,
Hmm.
I was just like, I can't keep carrying these
Yeah,
everywhere with me because I had like multiple big like plastic tubs full of Blu-rays, and I just like I couldn't do it anymore.
yeah, I hear ya. But anyways, guys, if you like this episode and you want to see more spooky and weird content, make sure you slap that subscribe button. Follow me on Facebook and Twitter at Horror Sci-Fi and Beyond. And also, don't forget to leave a killer comment on this episode. And then also give this episode a King Kong size thumbs up. And this has been Drew from Horror Sci-Fi and Beyond. Over and out. Bye.